The boy who cried why. Once, in a small village nestled deep within a dark, brooding forest, lived a curious boy named Thomas. From the day he could speak, Thomas's voice was filled with an endless stream of questions. Why is the sky blue? He would ask. Why do the stars twinkle? Why do the trees sway? His curiosity knew no bounds. At first, the villagers smiled indulgently at the boy's inquisitive nature. But as Thomas grew older, his questions began to wear on their patience. His parents, once eager to provide answers, grew weary. Thomas, his mother said one morning, exasperated, some questions are best left unanswered. But why? Thomas pressed, his wide eyes shimmering with curiosity. Autumn had come to the village, casting a golden glow over the forest. The crisp air carried whispers of old tales, of things better left forgotten. The villagers spoke in hushed tones of the mansion at the forest's edge, its silhouette stark against the fiery hues of the season. No one dared go near it, not even the bravest hunters. Why is the mansion forbidden? Thomas asked one evening as the family sat around their modest hearth. His mother shivered, clutching her shawl. Because those who enter never return, she whispered, her voice tinged with unease. That answer only kindled Thomas's curiosity. As the sun dipped below the horizon and darkness spilled across the land, he decided he would uncover the truth. That night, with only a flickering lantern and a heart full of questions, Thomas crept out of his home and into the forest. The path to the mansion was overgrown and choked with thorny vines, as if nature itself sought to keep intruders away. The trees loomed overhead, their gnarled branches clawing at the sky like skeletal fingers. The wind carried an unnatural chill, and the hoot of an owl made Thomas jump. The mansion stood before him, its windows like empty, staring eyes. The door groaned as Thomas pushed it open, and the sound echoed through the cavernous halls like a mournful wail. Inside, the air was damp and stale, thick with the scent of decay. Shadows twisted and writhed on the walls, their movements mimicking life. Why is it so dark? Thomas whispered, his voice trembling. A faint, disembodied whisper answered, so soft it could have been the wind. Why do you ask so many questions? Thomas froze. The lantern shook in his hand. Who's there? He asked, his voice small. Why are you here? The whisper grew louder, more insistent. Why are you here? Thomas's heart pounded as the shadows seemed to close in around him. He turned a corner and found himself in a grand hall, its vaulted ceiling lost to the darkness above. A massive chandelier hung precariously, its crystals coated in years of grime. Suddenly, a figure emerged from the shadows, a tall, gaunt man whose hollow eyes gleamed like shards of ice. I am the Keeper of Secrets, the figure said, his voice a raspy growl. You have asked too many questions, boy. Why? Thomas stammered, his knees trembling. Because knowledge is a dangerous thing, the Keeper hissed, stepping closer. His bony hand stretched out, and the lantern's light flickered wildly. Those who seek too much pay the price. What price? Thomas asked, though fear gripped his heart. The Keeper's mouth curled into a chilling smile. Your mind, your soul, your silence. Before Thomas could flee, the Keeper's hand touched his forehead. An unbearable pain tore through him, as if his very thoughts were being ripped away. His last word was a desperate whispered, "Why?" before darkness consumed him. The next morning, the villagers found Thomas lying at the mansion's entrance, his body cold and lifeless. His eyes stared unseeing at the sky, frozen wide with terror, and his lips were parted as if caught mid-question. The mansion stood silent and foreboding, its shadow stretching long over the village. But on the wind, faint and haunting, came the sound of a child's voice, endlessly asking, "Why?" Weeks passed, and the story of Thomas spread like wildfire. The villagers spoke of him in whispers, their voices trembling. Children no longer asked questions, their curiosity stifled by fear. The mansion became a symbol of dread, its crumbling walls a stark warning to all who might seek the forbidden. On moonless nights when the village was cloaked in shadow, some claimed to see the faint glow of a lantern moving through the mansion's windows. Others swore they heard the Keeper's sinister laugh, echoing through the trees. Years turned into decades, but the mansion remained. Over time, its facade was consumed by creeping ivy, and the forest seemed to reclaim it. Yet, those brave, or foolish, enough to approach swore the questions never ceased. The wind would carry the faint whispers of Thomas's voice, asking his endless whys. And deep within the mansion, the Keeper of Secrets waited, ever watchful, ready to claim the next soul curious enough to ask the wrong question.